Hi, I'm Lany, and this is my first time doing this or telling a story, so bear with me. And I want to say thanks to all the other stories because they're really moving and inspiring. I don't think my story is like that, so that's just a disclaimer there. But this is about an invisible scar, and it comes out when it's raining or right after a rain, but I'll get to that. So it starts out in second grade. I have always been a very happy, spirited little individual, but for some reason or another, kids usually pick on those people. And, of course, the elementary school that I grew up in, there were the popular kids, and there were the other kids. And there was just this one time where the kids were like, oh, she doesn't know how to match, so we're not going to be her friend. So I came to school the next day in all orange, because I thought that's what matching was going to be. And they were like, oh, she matches too much. We're not going to be her friend. So after the event, I realized that to be happy, I kind of needed my own friends. So I started to look to the ground, and I would play with the little critters in the ground, the bugs. And I had roly-poly farms, and I had just little worm farms, and these are my friends. So I grew really attached to this one worm that I found in my backyard who became my new best friend. Named him Mr. Squiggles McGee. So Mr. Squiggles was my best friend and was there for me when no one else was, because I would talk to him and he would go on adventures in the backyard with me, and he would stay by my side mostly because he wasn't very mobile and couldn't move around a lot. But I thought it was because he loved me and I loved him. One time in school they said, write a paragraph, or 2 sentences that counts as a paragraph, about your best friend. And everyone's, was, my best friend is Lany, she is very pretty, or my best friend is my mom, she gave me $1 today. But mine was Mr. Squiggles, he was my best friend, and we did everything together. And so after that, a kid came up to me in class and said, hey, so your best friend is this worm. I know how to help you with something. And I was like, what? Someone's talking to me, and it's because of Mr. Squiggles. This is great. And he goes, if you cut your worm in half, it's going to turn into 2 worms. And if you cut those worms in half, they're going to turn into 2 more worms. And I ran home so excited because I said, I can have a whole army of best friends, and I would be set. So I put Mr. Squiggles on the floor, and then grabbed a shovel, and I was like, Mr. Squiggles, it's gonna be great. You're gonna turn into 2, and then 4, and I didn't really know how to do math, so I probably added a 5 and a 7 in there, but that's okay. And I came down with the shovel. Lo and behold, he was squiggling. He was cut in 2, but for some reason I knew that something went wrong, because I suddenly felt anguish and pain and regret, because my worm was on the floor squiggling, but it also had guts, and it was gross, and it just didn't look like Mr. Squiggles was very happy, as he usually is. And so I sat there lying on the floor next to him, waiting for him to magically turn into 2 and 4 and 6, but it never happened, and he just stopped squiggling. And you could tell, at that point, it was one of the hardest things that I had ever done, because he was my only friend, and my mom didn't really understand when I ran crying in the house going, I cut my worm in half, can you help me fix him? So I went back to school, and I went up to the boy, I looked him in the eye, and I said, you made me unintentionally, I didn't say unintentionally, but that's what I was trying to portray, kill my best friend. And from then on, I have this scar that only comes out when it's raining or after it rains, because after that, the worms all come out from the ground, and they're all on the floor, and I don't know if I'm overtaken by this invisible scar of guilt or anguish for killing my best friend, but I cannot for the life of me step on one. So if you see a little girl, 5'2", walking on the street with her head down, trying really hard not to smash these little critters on the floor, please have patience and bear with me, or say hi and give me a smile. And don't be mean, because I'm just trying not to step on my old best friends. So.